Batman funds Arkham Asylum's failures on purpose. Bruce Wayne personally funds Arkham Asylum, oversees its board, and influences every major decision about Gotham's most dangerous facility. Yet, it fails constantly. Inmates escape monthly. Security is laughable. The revolving door never stops spinning. The theory suggests this isn't incompetence, it's design. Batman needs his rogues gallery active to justify his existence. Without the Joker, without Two-Face, without Riddler constantly escaping, what purpose does Batman serve? A functional Arkham would cure or contain these villains permanently, ending Gotham's crime spree and making Batman obsolete. So Bruce sabotages the system from the inside. He hires incompetent staff. He blocks funding for real security upgrades. He ensures therapy programs fail by appointing doctors who can't handle their patients. Harley Quinn was a respected psychiatrist before Arkham. Now she's a supervillain. Dr. Jeremiah Arkham became the second Black Mask. The facility doesn't rehabilitate, it creates more criminals. And Bruce allows this because deep down, he needs the mission more than Gotham needs protection. His trauma demands an eternal war, so he guarantees the war never ends. The evidence is overwhelming. Every time someone proposes closing Arkham and building something better, Bruce Wayne blocks it through the Wayne Foundation. Every security upgrade gets budget cuts at the last minute. The asylum's location itself, sitting on cursed ground with a dark history, was Bruce's choice. He's not trying to fix Gotham. He's maintaining it at the perfect level of broken, where he's always needed but never finished. By the way, if you guys like dark DC Comics theory content like this, I would really appreciate it if you could subscribe. Thank you very much. Superman could solve every crisis, but chooses not to. Clark Kent has saved the world. He's fast enough to be everywhere at once, smart enough to solve global problems, and powerful enough to enforce solutions. Yet, poverty exists. Wars continue. Disasters happen while he's dealing with Lex Luthor's latest scheme. The theory suggests Superman deliberately limits himself not out of respect for human agency, but because he enjoys being a savior. He needs humanity dependent on him. If he actually solved world hunger, ended all wars, and fixed climate change, people wouldn't need Superman anymore. He'd just be another guy. So he saves individuals, stops immediate threats, but never addresses root causes. He could force world peace with his presence alone. No country would dare start a war knowing Superman would stop it instantly. But he doesn't. He responds to conflicts after they've killed thousands instead of preventing them. He could expose corrupt politicians with his X-ray vision and super hearing, blackmail every evil world leader into stepping down. But he maintains this fiction that humans need to solve their own problems, except when it's convenient for him to intervene and play hero. The selectivity is the tell. He'll stop a bank robbery, but won't stop the economic systems that create poverty. He'll save people from a burning building, but won't prevent the corporate negligence that caused the fire. He's not protecting humanity. He's preserving his role as humanity's protector, which requires keeping humanity in perpetual need of protection. The Joker is multiple people sharing an identity. No single person could be the Joker for decades, survive everything he's survived, and maintain the level of chaos he creates. The theory suggests the Joker isn't one man. It's a shared identity passed between multiple people, either knowingly or through some kind of curse or infection. This explains the wildly inconsistent characterization across different stories. Sometimes he's a criminal mastermind, sometimes he's a chaos agent who doesn't plan anything. Sometimes he wants to kill Batman, sometimes he wants to be best friends. Sometimes he knows Batman's identity, sometimes he doesn't. These aren't inconsistencies, they're different people wearing the same face. The Joker Venom theory supports this. Anyone exposed to Joker toxin undergoes personality changes. What if the toxin doesn't just alter people temporarily, but creates new Jokers? Each victim who survives full exposure becomes another carrier of the Joker identity. They think they're the original because the toxin rewrites their memories, but they're just the latest in a long line. This explains why the Joker never permanently dies. Kill one, and another rises to replace him, fully believing they've always been the Joker. Batman might know this. It would explain why he's never killed the Joker, despite multiple opportunities. You can't kill an idea, and the Joker stopped being a person decades ago. He's a virus in human form, spreading through Gotham, creating copies of himself. The Three Jokers storyline confirmed multiple Jokers exist simultaneously. The theory just extends this, suggesting dozens or hundreds have worn the face over the years, each one thinking they're the original. Each one infected with the same madness that drives them to terrorize Gotham. Wonder Woman is suppressing her true nature. Diana was created from clay and given life by the gods, or she's Zeus's daughter, depending on the continuity. Either way, she's not human, and pretending to be humanity's protector might be an act. The theory suggests Wonder Woman's true nature is as a conqueror, and her heroic persona is suppressing violent urges that occasionally break through. Look at her methods compared to Superman or Batman. She kills when she deems it necessary. She snapped Maxwell Lord's neck on live television without hesitation. She's led Amazonian warriors in conflicts that left thousands dead. Her people are warriors, and she's their greatest champion, which means she's the best at violence, not peace. The Amazons were created to be a warrior race. Ares feared them because they were better at war than anyone. Diana embodies that heritage. Every time she talks about peace, she's fighting her nature. When she gets angry, when she truly cuts loose, she's terrifyingly brutal. The gods who created her were Greek gods, beings known for pettiness, vengeance, and cruelty. They didn't make her to be gentle, they made her to be powerful. And power at that level doesn't coexist with compassion, it mimics it. Her relationship with Steve Trevor with humanity might be genuine, but it could also be the same way a person loves their pets, affectionate but ultimately viewing them as lesser beings. When she's in the Justice League, she's the first to advocate for lethal force, the first to suggest they should rule rather than guide. She constantly has to be talked down from conquest by Superman and Batman, which suggests conquest is her default state. She's not a hero choosing peace, she's a warrior forcing herself not to conquer, and that suppression creates the perfect storm for eventual catastrophic failure. The Speed Force corrupts every speedster. Every speedster eventually goes insane, becomes a villain, or dies tragically. Barry Allen died in Crisis. Wally West got lost in the Speed Force. Bart Allen was murdered. Jay Garrick is only stable because he's older and slower. Reverse Flash is completely psychotic. Zoom is broken. Savitar became a god. The pattern is undeniable. The theory suggests the Speed Force itself is malevolent, or at minimum, incompatible with human consciousness. Running at those speeds, experiencing time differently, seeing probability and possibility, it breaks the human mind. Speedsters start perceiving reality as fluid, seeing all potential timelines simultaneously, and that knowledge drives them mad. They stop seeing people as real because they can see every version of every person across every timeline. Life becomes meaningless when you can see all possible outcomes. Barry's constant rebooting of the timeline, creating Flashpoint and its consequences, wasn't heroic. It was the Speed Force corrupting his perception of causality. He stopped respecting the timeline because he could see all timelines. Wally's obsession with running faster and faster, pushing limits. That wasn't ambition, it was addiction. The Speed Force was calling him, trying to absorb him, and he couldn't resist. The Reverse Flash isn't evil because he's from the future. He's evil because the Speed Force twisted him. His ability to create negative Speed Force means the main Speed Force has a dark side, and exposure to it corrupts. Every speedster who survives long enough starts hearing whispers, seeing visions, feeling the pull toward dissolution. They're not controlling a power, they're being slowly consumed by an entity that wants to absorb them. Lex Luthor is protecting Earth from Superman. From Lex's perspective, everything he does is justified defense against an alien threat. The theory suggests Lex isn't a villain, he's the only one thinking clearly. Superman is an alien with godlike powers who could enslave humanity anytime he chooses. His heroism could be a long game, building trust before the conquest. Lex sees this clearly because he's not blinded by Superman's charisma or power. He's preparing Earth for the inevitable day Superman stops pretending to be one of the good guys. Eventually, Superman will decide he knows better than humanity, that humans need to be ruled for their own good, and when that day comes, Lex will be ready. The theory points to Superman's behavior in alternate timelines. Injustice. Superman becomes a dictator after Lois dies. Red Sun Superman serves the Soviet Union. Kingdom Come, Superman withdraws and lets humanity suffer. Every version eventually reveals the same truth. Superman's restraint is temporary. Lex is the only human who might stop him. That's not heroism. That's a dictator eliminating threats before they can act. Gotham is cursed, and Batman is its anchor. Gotham has been a nightmare city for centuries. Before Batman, before the Industrial Age, it was known for corruption, murder, and darkness. The theory suggests Gotham sits on cursed ground, and Batman isn't fighting the curse, he's feeding it. Every punch he throws, every criminal he breaks, every night he operates, he's performing a ritual that keeps the curse active. The Court of Owls revealed Gotham's dark history stretches back to its founding. The city was built on sacrifice, on dark bargains, and that legacy poisons everything. Batman's trauma-driven crusade taps into this darkness. His refusal to kill creates an endless cycle of violence that feeds the curse. The Rogues Gallery isn't random, they're manifestations of Gotham's curse, each one representing a different aspect of urban decay and moral rot. The Joker is chaos, Two-Face is duality, Scarecrow is fear, Poison Ivy is nature's revenge. They keep returning because the curse needs them. Batman could leave. He could use his wealth to actually fix Gotham's systemic problems, rebuild the city somewhere else, relocate the entire population. But he doesn't because he's bound to Gotham by the same force that creates the villains. He's not a hero trapped in a broken city. He's the linchpin keeping the city broken. His parents' death wasn't random bad luck. It was the curse claiming its anchor. The city needed a protector who would fight eternally, but never win, maintaining the perfect state of conflict, and Bruce Wayne was selected. Every time he considers retiring, something pulls him back. Every time Gotham seems fixable, new horrors emerge. The curse won't let him win because his suffering is the point. The Green Lantern Corps is a fascist military state. The Guardians of the Universe created the Green Lantern Corps to enforce order across the cosmos. But their version of order looks suspiciously like authoritarian control. The theory suggests the Corps isn't a peacekeeping force, it's an occupying army. They decide what counts as justice. They overrule planetary governments. They execute threats without trial. They suppress information about their own failures. That's not law enforcement, that's tyranny. The Guardians themselves are emotionless beings who made themselves that way, removing their capacity for empathy to make rational decisions. Every authoritarian regime in history has used the same justification. They're not cruel, they're logical. They're not oppressing people, they're maintaining necessary order. The Manhunters, the Corps' predecessor, went on a genocidal rampage, killing billions. The Guardians' response was to build the exact same system, but with different programming. They didn't fix the fundamental flaw, they just hoped it wouldn't happen again. And it keeps happening. Parallax, the possessed Hal Jordan, tried to remake the universe. Kyle Rayner was manipulated by Parallax. Ion was corrupted. The emotional spectrum keeps revealing that the Guardians' control isn't absolute, but they refuse to give up power. When the other Lantern Corps formed, red for rage, violet for love, indigo for compassion, the Guardians saw them as threats to be neutralized rather than different valid perspectives. They want a universe with only one type of power because monopoly is easier to control. Green Lanterns are told they're heroes, but they're really enforcers for an ancient authoritarian regime that's convinced itself it knows better than every civilization in the universe. Aquaman lets Atlantis suffer to maintain his throne. Arthur Curry is half human, raised on the surface with divided loyalties. The theory suggests he's not Atlantis' protector. He's an occupier who keeps the underwater kingdoms deliberately weak so they can't challenge surface world dominance. Think about it strategically. Atlantis has magic, advanced technology, and controls 70% of the planet's surface. If united under competent leadership, they could conquer the surface world easily. But under Arthur's rule, Atlantis stays fractured, fighting internal wars, never quite achieving their potential. That benefits surface dwellers like Arthur's Justice League teammates. Every time Atlantis moves toward unity, some crisis emerges that Arthur has to solve, keeping him in power while preventing real progress. His half-human nature is seen as strength, but to Atlanteans it should be disqualifying. He's letting an outsider perspective dictate Atlantean policy. His marriage to Mara was political, cementing his claim to the throne while bringing a powerful house under his control. His conflicts with Ocean Master aren't just family drama. They're Orm trying to free Atlantis from a king who serves two masters and gives priority to the wrong one. The theory points to Arthur's response to surface world pollution and overfishing. He complains, he occasionally threatens, but he never follows through. A true king of the oceans would wage war against nations destroying his realm. But Arthur always pulls back, always finds diplomatic solutions that favor the surface, always chooses his human connections over his subjects' well-being. He's not protecting Atlantis, he's pacifying it, keeping the underwater kingdoms weak and divided, so the Justice League never has to fight a truly unified ocean-based threat. Darkseid already won. The anti-life equation doesn't need to be spoken or imposed, it just needs to be true. The theory suggests Darkseid discovered the equation isn't a formula to impose on reality. It's a description of reality as it already exists. Life has no meaning, free will is an illusion, suffering is inevitable. By proving this mathematically, Darkseid didn't need to conquer anything. He just needed to reveal the truth, and reality itself would enforce his will. Every hero's victory is temporary. Every villain returns. Every problem generates two more. The universe trends toward entropy, toward Darkseid's vision of absolute control through absolute meaninglessness. Heroes fight believing they matter, but the equation proves they don't. Their victories are probabilities playing out in a deterministic universe, not triumphs of will. Darkseid doesn't chase the equation anymore because he already has it. His invasions of Earth aren't attempts at conquest, they're demonstrations. He's showing heroes that resistance is futile not because he's unstoppable, but because existence itself is futile. He's won because the universe operates according to his philosophy. The source wall keeps higher beings out, but maybe it's really keeping anti-life in. Maybe the equation has already infected the DC universe, and every struggle against it just proves its truth. Heroes suffer, villains cause suffering, and the cycle continues eternally. Which is exactly what anti-life predicts. Darkseid sits on Apocalypse not because he's trapped there, but because he's already won and is watching his equation play out across all realities. The monitors are experimenting on the multiverse. After every crisis, the multiverse gets restructured, Continuity gets revised, and the monitors claim they're protecting reality. The theory suggests they're not protecting anything. They're conducting experiments. Each crisis is a controlled variable. What happens if we erase the multiverse and restart with one Earth? What happens if we allow 52 Earths? What happens if the dark multiverse invades? These aren't crises, they're tests. The monitors exist outside the multiverse, observing, cataloging, and occasionally interfering when their experiments need adjustment. They created the Speed Force, the emotional spectrum, the fundamental forces of the DC universe, not through natural law, but through experimental design. They're cosmic scientists, treating entire universes as petri dishes. Every hero, every villain, every civilian is a data point in a study the monitors have been conducting since before time. The anti-monitor wasn't a threat to destroy. It was another monitor running a different experiment. What if we introduce a destructive force? How does reality respond? The monitor stopped him not because he was wrong, but because that particular experiment was concluded. The heroes think they saved the multiverse, but really they just participated in a test. Dark Knight's Metal, Infinite Crisis, Final Crisis, these aren't random events, they're scheduled interventions where the monitors adjust variables and observe outcomes. And the worst part, the monitors don't care about individual lives, they're studying cosmic principles, meaning every death, every tragedy, every moment of suffering is just interesting data in a journal nobody will ever read. In conclusion, these theories flip DC's heroic narrative into something darker. Batman maintains broken systems. Superman selectively saves people. The Joker is a virus. Wonder Woman suppresses conquest. The Speed Force drives speedsters mad. Lex is defending Earth. Gotham is cursed. The Green Lantern Corps is authoritarian. Aquaman weakens Atlantis. Darkseid already won. And the monitors are experimenting on all of it. None of these are confirmed, but they're all supported by evidence scattered across decades of stories. They suggest the DC universe isn't a world of heroes and villains fighting for the soul of humanity. It's a universe where heroism might be a lie, heroes tell themselves to justify their actions, where systems perpetuate themselves regardless of individual intent, and where the greatest threats aren't villains, but the structures heroes operate within. Now to you, which of these evil DC theories do you think has the most evidence behind it? And which one would fundamentally ruin your favorite character if proven true? Comment down below as you leave a like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell for more amazing videos like this.